The Second Amendment is a curse, and we need to be more like Canada. Yeah, you all know me, that's not coming from my mouth. I had to fight through one of the worst, most communist, blue-haired, screaming, bloody murder liberals, pieces of trash editorial that I've ever had to go through in my life. And I want to tell you all about it. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is the Sonoran Desert Institute. Guys and gals, many of us gun owners like to tinker with or repair or upgrade our own firearms. Well, why not turn that passion into a career? SDI is a distance learning institute where all of the tools and materials are shipped directly to your door. They have classes like ballistics, gunsmithing, armorer's courses, and even drone classes. Start the path at getting your certificate or your degree at the link down below, sdi.edu. Thank you to SDI for sponsoring this video. All right, everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets. This is where you'll get Second Amendment news on a daily basis, including crazy thoughts and ideas that have a good part of the population following like lemmings. And that is this editorial on NewJersey.com that was penned by the Star Ledger editorial board. A bunch of crazy liberals, anti-Americans, communist wannabes, and they say that America should do just what Canada did. Well, before I jump into this, I have one message for them. Screw you, you clowns, and maybe you should move your ass to Canada, because this country was founded on firearms. We have a right to our firearms. It is what keeps this country free. The reason you're not doing the goose step down the road is because we can keep ourselves free and safe. And if you don't like it, you don't have to celebrate the Second Amendment. That's fine, but you don't have the right to tell me how I get to use my rights. All right, let's jump into this ass clown craziness that had me, I was just baffled at some of the things they said in here. And I'll have a link to this down below. If you really want to laugh, you can pull it up on your own. Now, this editorial starts out crying about the Bruin decision and all upset and butthurt about how the United States Supreme Court has rectified a serious wrong, something that's gone unchecked for dozens of years. And they're specifically crying about the 100-year-old gun control in New York that Sir Clarence Thomas and the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision said that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. Let's go to the editorial. It says, our governor just responded by signing new legislation to sharply limit where guns can be carried in New Jersey. Where you have fewer guns and stricter laws, you have fewer gun injuries and deaths, research has shown. Yet while most people are solidly on his side, the law may not withstand legal challenges. The gun lobby has vowed that it will go down in a flaming ash heap. Now, before I get into anything else in this article, let me start by lambasting this editorial board with fact. Massachusetts is always seen as either number 1 or number 2 in this country with the most restrictive gun laws, period, okay? And often many states want to emulate the BS that here in Massachusetts residents have to deal with. And in Massachusetts, we're in New England, which is a 6-state region in the Northeast United States. We have 3 states in New England that are constitutional carry, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. And we have 3 states that are basically communist, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Of those 6 states, keep in mind, Massachusetts has some of the most restrictive laws in the land. Which state rather, do you think is the most violent when it comes to firearm crime? Massachusetts. That's right. Just like this one city in the country that has all of the liberal brainstorming gun control in it, has red flag, has bans of this and that, and you can't carry this or there. You can't protect yourself. Just be a victim. Everything will be okay. And I'm talking about Chicago. Yet it's the most unsafe city in the country, possibly one of the most unsafe in the world, because they have all the gun control. Yet people get shot by the hundreds every single weekend, but the Democrats don't want to talk about that. So facts schmacks. Gun control, when you heap it on, makes everybody unsafe because they become targets. They become victims. They become felons overnight. That's not how you make people safe. But I digress. Let's continue to this crazy liberal brainwashing bullshit. Now imagine a world where we didn't have to struggle with this. You don't have to look too far for inspiration. There it is, just north of our border, where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau Castro is almost reaching the point of banning gun sales in Canada. They have no Second Amendment, no constitutional right to gun ownership. Guns are treated the same as any other consumer good that the government can regulate. Well, yeah, that's it, because they're not a freaking free country. They still follow under the king now in England. If you don't like living in the freest country in the world, the best experiment ever to hit the planet, then get the frick out. Leave, please. And for whoever wrote this article, I'll pay for your ticket personally. One-way ticket, get the frick out. Then you can go cry to Justin Trudeau when he takes all your rights and you become subject to his communistic rule, just like his dad down in Cuba did. Now, this editorial continues with all kinds of skewed stats that include suicides and says, look, we need to stop. Oh, please. Oh. And then compares the country to Japan, yet another country that does not have a constitution like we do. They don't have the right to keep themselves free. But, just pick and choose whatever country fits your argument, but the fact remains, here in America, the Second Amendment shall keep you free. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't carry a gun. But you don't get to tell the rest of the country how they get to use their rights. Just like you can dye your hair blue and scream in the streets when something happens that you don't like that hurts your feelings. I'll never tell you you can't do that. I think it's funny that you do that, actually. But I'll never tell you that you don't have the right to free speech or to go at your senators and legislators for redress of grievances. That's your right. But you're not taking away mine. It goes on, it wasn't always this way. Not until 2008 did the Supreme Court suddenly side with the National Rifle Association and reject the interpretation that the intent of our founders was simply to ensure the government did not interfere with a well-regulated militia like the National Guard. Instead, inspired by the ideology of the gun lobby, the court that year insisted that the Second Amendment did indeed create an individual right to own a weapon. Even Republicans had called that a stretch. Well, yeah, those are called rhinos. As late as 1991, a Nixon-appointed retired Chief Justice, Warren Burger, said the Second Amendment has been the subject of one of the greatest pieces of fraud, I repeat the word fraud, on the American public by special interest groups that I have ever seen in my lifetime. And of course you're going to use that to try to change people's minds. But you know what? The Second Amendment is number 2 for a reason, because you don't get the rest of them unless you can enforce it. And if you don't think that if we didn't have the Second Amendment, that Joe Biden and all of the regimes before him for the last, insert number here, 30 years, 40 years, if you don't think that they would take your rights and make you a subject, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Yet even with this extremist ruling, there's still plenty that Congress could do. Require background checks for all gun purchases. They already do. Along with better training, safe storage, and trigger locks. Take guns from abusive spouses. They already do. And tighten up the enforcement of laws on straw purchases of weapons. They already do. It's a federal crime. Build an effective red flag system. That's a violation of our rights. After all, if a militia is well regulated on its use of arms, shouldn't the average American be? Now, there's more bleeding heart liberal bullshit in this editorial, but they even say that the country should regulate guns the same way cars are, and that's based off of public health, or rather the public health approach, where if some people are getting hurt, then some people who have nothing to do with guns can tell everybody how they can handle them. Man, piss off. Guys and gals, I told you when Bruin happened that the anti-gunners would kick it up a notch and play on everybody's feelings and heartstrings and woe is me. This is just another example of that, but there are a lot of people who are already talking about this article, or this editorial that came out yesterday, and I wanted to bring it to your attention because I know nobody here is going to read it because it's bullshit, and we don't typically read stuff that we know is made of fecal matter. Yet, I wanted to bring it to your attention because this will have people talking, and I guarantee that there will be legislators that take this and run with it. So, you now have the knowledge, you now have the education, please share it with others. And if you think that this BS should stop and never be allowed to ferment and affect our right to keep and bear arms, then subscribe to Guns and Gadgets because I bring you that information every single day. And with you joining this channel, the voice gets stronger and more people get to see and hear the truth and the news. And if you really want to read this, I'll have it linked down below. Guys and gals, thank you for your time. I appreciate it way more than you know. Till we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. Yes, even the blue-haired liberals like this clown. We will do our job to keep you safe so that you have the right to babble like a complete idiot. I'll see y'all on the next one. Take care.